WILI and 95.3 FM. It's the Friday Sports Scene with Keith and Koivisto. Talking local sports every Friday. Getting you ready for the weekend and what lies ahead. High school sports, UConn, ECSU, and more. The Friday Sports Scene with Keith and Koivisto is brought to you by your local Dunkin' stores. Route 32 South Windham, 1015 Main Street, Willimantic, 1575 West Main Street, and 407 Jackson Street. The Friday Sports Scene. Now, here's Keith C. Rice and Jan Koivisto.
Thank you, Eddie Bishop. And, of course, we're joined by Nick Erlinson. It's another edition of the Dunkin' Friday Sports Scene on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM. And, of course, we can't encourage you enough to go onto YouTube, not just for the Dunkin' Friday Sports Scene, but you can watch a lot of our talk shows. Search and subscribe for free to WILI Radio on YouTube. You'll be able to watch this show. If you're listening right now, you'll be able to watch it. Sometimes it's uploaded over the weekend, most likely, most of the time on Monday, the Dunkin' Friday Sports Scene with Keith and Koivisto and Nick Erlinson. Got another big show lined up. Here we go for April the 17th. Gentlemen, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. How about yourself?
We've had one heck of a week as far as weather. Who would have thought it'd be 85, 90 degrees in the middle of April? Let's hope Mother Nature saves some of that for July, and it's not like, 35 on a Saturday night in July.
It's been awesome. I went to a Plainfield girls softball game this week, and it was just so beautiful. 80 degrees, great weather, and great time of year. You got spring baseball for the local high schools. We got the baseball starting. Even though the Sox are struggling, it's still fun.
With the exception of the Braves and Dodgers, it seems like. We're just talking about that. Yeah. Everyone in MLB is right around 500. So.
And NBA and NHL playoff time. I mean, if you're a sports fan, it's time to wake up, I think.
Yes, and hey, we got two exciting play-in games tonight. Excuse me. The coach, Jan Koivisto, has lined up a great NBA guest, Dion Sherman, from a 2-for-1 NBA podcast, right? That's the name of the podcast?
Yeah, he's a young guy, about 25, but he knows more about basketball than anybody I know.
Really?
Yeah, and he even does know the history. Every once in a while I can get him with some of the history.
Okay.
But currently he does his own mock draft and stuff. I'm sure he's got playoff picks out there.
Oh, this would be great. Where's he out of? Where's he from?
He was up here for a while, grew up in Rocky Hill, worked at Putnam Science Academy for a couple of years. Right now he is in North Carolina. His family's kind of in that area.
And this is this his gig? He does NBA stuff or what?
He has had a few different gigs, but this is what he wants his full-time gig to be. This is a side gig right now.
I'm going to have to follow him on social, definitely.
Yeah.
Nick Erlinson, how you doing? You ready for some NBA play-in action tonight?
Yes, I am. Hopefully, I think it'll be a good game. I would like to see Orlando win, but who knows? Charlotte's been real good.
For those of you who are listening and you maybe hopefully eventually watch the show, Nick is decked out in his Orlando Magic gear. Going back, this is back when Shaq was playing and Penny Hardaway, right?
Yep, got my Penny Hardaway jersey on.
It's a retro. It's a Penny Hardaway jersey. And Jan's still in a football frame of mind. He's got his Baltimore Ravens sweatshirt on.
Yeah. It's always football season, really, right? The draft's next week for football too.
That's right.
More good stuff coming up in April for sports.
I don't know how we're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to bump homegrown and go 2 hours. I'm kidding, Matt.
We should try to get Mel Kiper. Yeah.
You know, Melly, want to give him a call? You get him on speed dial?
I don't know. I'll try.
Anyway, so the Magic. Real quick, one more last thing about your Orlando Magic. I thought they were going to beat Philly the other night. I really did. They hung in there, but. That Desmond Bain guy who played for Memphis, he's the only one that really showed up. But, that Orlando-Charlotte game should be fun tonight. So, and then the late game is the Warriors-Suns. Both those games will decide the 8 seeds in the East and West, respectively. All right. We do have a guest at 3:15, so I better pipe down and get through the rundown. And our guest at 3:15 will be the head baseball coach at Eastern Connecticut State University. We like to call him Coach O, but Coach Mike Odenwallder will join us and let us know what's going on with Eastern. They're coming off a tough loss to Wheaton yesterday. It's in the rundown, so let's get to it. Wyndham 1-5 today. They got their first win of the year today. Earlier today, it is Jan just enlightened me. It's vacation week. I was wondering what's up with all these 11 a.m. and noon games. Aren't they supposed to be in school? It's vacation week, so Wyndham played today. The baseball team, they beat Parish Hill 9-6. Whipsel, they're back at it tomorrow at 4. Playing at Quinnebog Valley, which is a Putnam Turtelot team. And we'll have to get, have to get Wyndham coach Mike Haggs on here. That's Mike Haggerty, I'll call him Haggs. Get him on here soon. Wyndham softball 1-4. They're playing at 3:45 this afternoon at Parish Hill. Wyndham Tech 2-3. Coach Billy O, another O there, Bill O'Connor, they don't play again until Monday at Grasso Tech. Tech softball will be at Sacred Heart at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Wyndham Tech softball off to a 4-1 start. They beat Vinyl Tech earlier today, 13-9. Hunter Hamlin's E.O. Smith baseball team is at 500, 3-3. They went down to Coventry in an early game today, 11-0. E.O. Smith softball, they stand at 1-5, and they'll be at Berlin. Berlin, that is. Go back and say Berlin is in Germany. Berlin is the town. 4 p.m. on Monday, and that's a home game for E.O. Smith softball. Coventry baseball 4-1. As mentioned, they beat Smith earlier today. The softball team was 5-0 after a 13-2 romp over Middletown. Lyman baseball 4-3. They won at Wheeler 19-3 yesterday, and then 20-2 today against Bolton. Softball team is 2-3. They are playing Bolton today. Eastern, as we mentioned, lost to Wheaton 5-2 up in Mansfield. I believe it was up in Mansfield yesterday. Brian Gaglia made his first career start. We'll talk more Warrior baseball, as I mentioned, with Coach Mike Odenwallder at 3:15. Eastern is now 27-1 overall, 7-2 in the Little East. And ECSU plays 2 with Keene State in Mansfield tomorrow starting at noon. Eastern softball is at WPI. I'm sorry, they split a doubleheader with WPI up in Worcester yesterday, winning 5-2 and losing 7-1. Coach Pepin was texting with her the other day. We're going to get her on the show soon. Eastern softball is 15-11 overall, 5-3 in the conference. UConn baseball 20-18 overall, 6-3 in the Big East. Host St. John's at 6 tonight in Stores. And UConn softball 21-22 overall, 12-3 in the Big East. They host Providence tonight at 7. As you mentioned, NBA, 2 more play-in games tonight to decide the 8th seed in the East and the West. You get the Hornets at the Magic, followed by the Warriors and the Suns in Phoenix. We were talking about off the air, UConn's Donovan Clingan, very responsible in that Portland comeback in the fourth quarter against Phoenix the other night. The Blazers were down 11. I didn't see any of it, but I heard Clingan was a major part of that comeback there in the fourth quarter. And now you get a Castle versus Clingan first-round matchup with Spurs and Trailblazers. That'll be fun. Celtics, the 2 seed in the East, host Philly Sunday at 1 on ABC. Game 2 will be Tuesday night. Welcome to the NBA first round when they're going to start really spreading out the games. I heard that Knicks-Atlanta series starts Saturday with the Hawks, Knicks-Hawks. And then, Game 2 is Thursday night or something like that. They got to spread it out. It drives us fans crazy. But, again, more playoff talk with Dion Sherman coming up at 3:35 on the Duncan Friday Sports Scene. MLB locals, Mets losing streak at 8. So, Red Sox fans, even Yankee fans, if you're down on your team, it could be worse. You could be a New York Mets fan. They've lost 8 straight. I know they just played the world champion Dodgers, but they're currently playing the Cubs at Wrigley right now. Nick, I don't mean to put you on the spot. We'll dig up a score. Just see if I'm kind of curious to see if the Mets are losing again. Carlos Mendoza has to be on the hot seat, I would think.
Mets are the worst franchise in baseball, I think, because they have money to spend. They do spend money, and they're always wrong.
6-3 Cubs in the bottom of the third. The Mets are the Jets of baseball.
Yeah.
And vice versa. It's
and they've had some pretty decent, last month chokes in these last few years, too. So it's just a disaster.
Yeah, and they'll always hold. I love how Mets fans could always. You can't hold 1986 over our heads anymore.
No.
I say we as a Red Sox fan base. You've won 4 times since 2004 or whatever. Sorry, Mets fans. I can even watch, as a Sox fan, I can watch 86. Yes, I can watch 03. I can watch 70. I can watch all that now because I feel much better about my heart does go out to Mets fans a little. I mean,
mine doesn't. Mine doesn't. But 100%, you can watch all that stuff and it's nothing now.
Yeah, exactly. People go, I can't still. Red Sox, old school Red Sox fans go, I can't watch 78 or 80. Are you kidding me? Does it bother me?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. And the Aaron Boone thing, even though it was, 2003, I mean, Grady Little, I kind of feel bad for him. Should have lost his job, but he did. All right, anyway, I digress. Sox host the Tigers at 6:15 tonight on WILI. If you want to watch that game, you should just listen to it on WILI. It's on Apple TV. Sox fans, just a heads up. Yankees are home for Kansas City this evening. Sad news in the world of baseball. It just came down a couple hours ago. Longtime LA Angels great Garrett Anderson has passed away at the age of 53. He had a tremendous career. He was an analyst on ESPN after he retired in, I think, Jan said 2010. Cause of death still unknown. But I saw him in person twice against the Red Sox out in Anaheim a couple times. A tremendous, borderline Hall of Famer. I mean, close, but probably not. I'd say right borderline, right?
Yeah, well, we looked it up because I would have said no, and then you look it up, 2,500 hits, over 1,000 run squad, had some good years, only an All-Star a few times, so is outside the Hall of Famer, but a heck of a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, that's almost like up there with Dustin Pedroia, who I think should have been. I'm not just saying because I'm a Red Sox fan. Pedroia was actually, he almost made the ballot, right, or something like that.
Well, he was on if he didn't hurt himself and he even had a few mediocre years at the end, I think maybe he would have compiled enough stats to get in.
Yeah.
So
thank you, Manny Machado, for pretty much ending Pedroia's career. Okay, the Friday Sports Scene, of course, brought to you by Duncan. That's why it's called the Duncan Friday Sports Scene. Big thanks to Jerry, Jose, and the crew. Route 32 South Wyndham, 407 Jackson Street, Willimantic, 1015 Main Street, and 1575 West Main Street. They got tremendous stuff on that menu, like the $5 meal deal. What a bargain. The Berry Moonlight Daydream Refresher, Coca Cloud Latte, protein latte with sugar-free vanilla. I'm rocking the Dunkin' Latte. It looks like Nick has a refresher.
Yep, the Juicy Peach Zero Sugar.
I got to try that. I'm a big. I always say I got to try. Today would have been a day to have a refresher. It's so hot.
It's just like with the different jerseys, always a different drink.
I know. Right? Changes it up. It could be 95 degrees. I'll still have a hot coffee. I like ice drinks, but I feel like I drink it too fast. And we know Jan's rocking the black, the ice black. And so big thanks to our local Dunkin' stores. The Friday Sports Scene runs on Dunkin'. Now let's bring in J. Matt Rupar, who's going to tell us what's coming up on Homegrown at 4:05 today. But before he tells us that, some breaking news with Homegrown this week. Not only, if you miss it at just after 4 o'clock every Friday on WILI, you can catch it, yes, as you may know, on our sister station Saturday at midnight on I-98.3, but also back here on WILI Saturday at midnight. So it's running on I-98.3 and on WILI at midnight.
At the same time.
So it's almost like a simulcast.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. I don't know when that actually starts, but a couple weeks, I think.
Well, look at you. And then, of course, you can watch Homegrown on Spectrum 192.
And YouTube.
Yeah,
Spectrum 192 Wednesdays and Saturday at 4 p.m.
All right, and what do you got coming up today?
Yeah, I got this artist, Rachel Zamstein. She's doing an acoustic version of one of her songs. It's brand new, released April 3rd. A couple new bands to my show, Nate Pulse from Meriden, Victim or Victor. Izzy Smut, I think I could say that on the radio. I just did. So, and then
we got the delay back in the studio.
And then this band Seventh Hour, which I think you might know one of the guys, Phil Bender.
Bender, we know that
I know Bender. So, good show.
Very good. No Patty Tewitt or Kasha Dent this week.
Patty will be on in a couple weeks.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, J. Matt Rupar, I tell you, if you want to be on Homegrown, if you're a sports fan, you happen to love, Connecticut music, get in touch with J. Matt Rupar. Matt, go ahead and throw your email out real quick. Sorry.
matt.rupar@gmail.com.
So if you're a Connecticut musician or know somebody who is, get in touch with J. Matt Rupar. All right. We're a little late here, so we got to get Coach Odenwallder on the line, talk a little ECSU baseball. Appreciate, he said he was going to talk just while the guys are stretching on the field, so we'll have to squeeze in a good 10 minutes with Coach O. But we're just talking about the legacy that is Eastern baseball. Bill Holowati, Brian Ham, who of course won a national championship, and Coach Odenwallder replaced Ham. And it just seems like every year this team is good, no matter who's coaching.
Going back to when we were kids, Holowati, 1,400 plus wins, I think. A couple national titles, maybe 4 for him.
4, and then Ham. Yeah,
and
Ham
then the
5th.
Right.
Yeah.
And some guys that have gotten a cup of coffees in the majors too. Yeah. A lot of guys that have been in the minors, but a couple that have even made the majors. So great program.
All right, time to talk ECSU baseball. For the first time this spring season. Let's bring him in here. Do we have the coach? Hello, Coach Odenwallder.
Hey, how we doing, guys?
Good. Thanks for a few minutes. We know time is short. We got Coach Mike Odenwallder from the Eastern Connecticut State University Baseball Warriors on the line. Keith C. Rice here, Coach. We got the Chronicles, Jan Koivisto, and Nick Erlinson. We thank you for a few minutes. As you said yesterday when we were texting, are the guys literally stretching right now as you do this interview?
They'll be stretching. They should be stretching in about 15 minutes. We're in a bit of a lightning delay down here at the complex.
That's right. The weather's a little wacky right now, yeah.
Yeah. We got a few showers and thunderstorms passing through, but it's nice to have this brand new turf facility down here, so I don't need to worry about putting the tarp on and off, and I'm sure the boys are happy about that too.
Absolutely. Before we get going here, I did say, I know it's been a while, I had you on when I filled in for Wayne, I believe around the time you took the job. It is Odenwallder, right?
Yep, Odenwallder, that's
okay.
right.
I checked with Smitty this morning, too, just to make sure I got a phonetics. And I said, I haven't talked to Coach in a while, but, hey, tough loss to Wheaton last night. It's Brian Goglia, is that how you say it?
Yep.
Made his debut. Tell us a little about the game last night and how Brian looked and all that.
Yeah, so it was, I don't know, maybe our 5th game in 5 days, something like that. This was always going to be a tough stretch of a week here with some really good in-region opponents, and then no slouch in Keene State coming down tomorrow too. So we've got to saddle up and take 2 tomorrow. But yeah, yesterday was Wheaton's a solid team, and baseball's a tough game, man. They played sound fundamental baseball. We hit some balls really hard last night, just right at some guys. They turned, I think, 5 double plays maybe on hard hit ground balls, one hoppers, just kind of tailor made, and that's the way the ball bounces sometimes. But was great to get a start out of Brian. His first start for us, he'd been out of the pen a little bit, and wasn't sure what we were going to get out of him. I was planning to use him for a couple of innings, but he looked so strong yesterday that we let him roll out there for around 70 pitches or so. And he's a young, talented arm. He's a VCU transferred in. He's got 4 years of eligibility still. I expect big things out of him in the future, and he's only going to get better and better as he pitches more and continues to develop here.
I was going to ask you about it. Looks like Ian Moser is having the best year for you, and looks like he's developed as a hitter, better stats every year. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, and that's a testament to our hitting coaches, both Kyle Sylvester and Sean Lawler. They do a tremendous job with the offense, and Ian's a big, strong kid, so he can miss on some balls, and they end up going out of the yard. So he's fortunate to have the power that he does. Still strikes out a little more than I'd like, but if you're going to have a guy that strikes out from time to time, he also takes a ton of walks, and he also hits balls really far out of the ballpark. I think he's got 9 homers right now, a couple of multi-home run games. So he's definitely a scary bat and somebody that opponents have circled on the scouting report. But he's a tough kid, hard worker, takes care of himself on and off the field, and he's really seeing the fruits of that labor in his junior year here.
So you got Keene State coming in tomorrow. I glance at the schedule every now and then. I notice you guys play a lot of doubleheaders. It's something you're used to. What can you tell us about the guys? By now they should be used to playing too. You guys have been playing ball since like February. What can you tell us about Keene State and the grind of a doubleheader? And if you could talk a little about that.
Yeah, it's always tough. I mean, we play a 40-game baseball season, and that's on top of these guys' academic schedules. They still got to go to class. They still got to get their lifts in, their workouts in, and then we're playing in weeks like this. We're playing 7 games in a week. So that's part of what you sign up for when you want to be a college athlete, a college baseball player, and it's important that our guys are keeping their bodies right, and we've got a really good group of motivated young men that really take care of themselves. So I don't worry about it from a tiredness or a physicality standpoint, but it's making sure that we can keep our mental game strong and come out and perform even on a midweek game, right? A Amherst game. We had WestCon on Tuesday. Obviously, we lose last night, but that's to a good baseball team. We make maybe 1 or 2 mistakes that I don't want to make that end up not costing us the game as a whole, but a couple of mistakes that, sure, maybe if we're a little bit fresher mentally and physically, we can maybe make those plays and put a perfect game together. But stuff like that's going to happen throughout the season, especially when you're playing a tough schedule. And then moving on to Keene, they're a solid baseball team. I don't know exactly what their record is. I know it's nothing crazy, but they've got the reigning LEC pitcher of the year will be pitching for them tomorrow. And they've got another guy that runs it up into the low mid-90s. So they're going to be a quality baseball team. Coach Blood does a really good job up there, and they're competitive. They're coming off of winning the LEC last year. So it's going to be a dogfight. I look forward to it. I'm happy with where our team's at right now, and I expect the boys are going to be able to perform and put in a really good effort and take home a couple of wins tomorrow.
Coach Mike Odenwallder from the ECSU baseball team joining us here on the Duncan Friday Sports Scene on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM and WILI Radio on YouTube. You mentioned who Keene State's throwing. Who are you going to be throwing in the doubleheader tomorrow? First game at noon, second game at 3. Have you decided who you're going with?
Yeah, we're actually gonna throw a pair of sophomores. We've got Steven Rickert, who had a really good freshman campaign for us. He was kind of our setup closer man last year, and he's transitioned into a weekend role. And then Jake Shaughnessy is getting his first weekend start. We're fighting a couple of injuries here and there on the staff and a couple of tired arms. So Jake's kind of getting a spot start, but a start that he's earned nonetheless. His numbers are very, very good this year. And Rickert's a guy. He's going to be able to compete against absolutely any team in the country. So total faith in both of those guys. We've got a stacked bullpen that's in good shape and ready to go if we need them at any point tomorrow. I expect to get quality starts out of those guys, and it should be a good game one way or another. We should be playing 2 tight baseball games tomorrow against a quality opponent, and that's what you want. You want to be playing in games that matter, especially down the stretch here.
So I'm just kind of curious, the 2 guys that you got thrown, the 2 young kids, and are these kind of like the equivalent of openers that you see in Major League Baseball now these days?
Not per se. I'd say Steven Rickert's more of a traditional starter.
Oh, okay.
I would hope that we can get some length out of him. Shaughnessy, we'll see how it goes. We'll play it a little bit by ear. Not planning to open him per se. He's built up to throw 80 to 100 pitches if he looks good tomorrow. But like I said, we've got so many quality guys to back both of them up that I'm not going to leave anybody out there to dry. I would love if I could get 6+ innings out of both of these guys, but if I get 6+ out of one of them, we're still set up for success.
Now you're doing pretty well this season. You're 27-1, and then doing very well in the LEC. We talked a little about the pitching. How have you felt about the offense and defensively too? Can you speak a little about that? Are you pretty satisfied with the way your team is balanced this year?
Hey, we're never going to use the S word. We're never going to be satisfied here, right?
Right.
There's always something that we need to get better at, that we need to work on. Our defense, I always want it to be better. We don't have any glaring holes or glaring mistakes that we're making. It's I would say we're making an error here, an error there, with the exception of a couple of poor games that we've had defensively. I think that our mentality, our grit is our strength, which has been Eastern baseball as long as anybody can remember, right? I think that our offense is really tough. We don't have 4 big boppers like Ian Moser in the lineup, right? We have him, and then we've got a few guys that are dangerous, can put the ball out, but it's not like that team back in 22 that had Masagno and Broadhurst and those guys that were all hitting Malcolm 10+ home runs a year. We've got maybe 1 or 2 of those guys, but the complementary guys on offense, we do a really, really good job at seeing a lot of pitches, getting to bullpens, which in D3 baseball is really, really important. If you can get to a team's bullpen, you usually are in a pretty good spot. So while we might not have 100 home runs this year, we're going to find ways to get on base, steal a lot of bases, play some small ball when we need to, and then run into one every once in a while when we get our big boppers up there.
So you played Division III baseball yourself, right, about a decade ago. I'm just wondering, because you mentioned that Keene's got a second pitcher that's going to touch 90. Baseball's been kind of timeless, but what's like the biggest changes you've seen in the game in D3?
It's just getting better at every level. I would say the average velocity has definitely crept up a little bit. We've got multiple guys that are 90+ guys on our team, and most quality Division III teams also have guys that are 90+. Now, it's the teams that can keep those guys at their programs are the ones that are typically the most successful. It's tough these days with NIL and majority of teams not having NIL at the D3 level, and so much money being thrown around at the Division I level, and the transfer portal is obviously bigger than it's ever been. So I think the talent and the quality of baseball is as good as it's ever been at the Division III level. The teams that can play fundamentally sound are the ones that are routinely out there at the end of the season in those regionals, in those supers, and in the World Series, because everybody's got the talent, but it's being able to put it together as a team is what really separates the good from the elite from the good.
All right, so Eastern baseball back at it. Doubleheader tomorrow. Should be better weather. I like what we're getting right now with this lightning delay. Good luck with that, Coach. But also, best of luck tomorrow. First game at noon, second game at 3 up at Holowati Family Field, Eastern and Keene State. We thank you for your few minutes, and we'll get you again. We'll get you on again soon.
All right, talk soon. Thanks so much, guys.
All right, thank you, Coach. Thank you. Coach Mike Odenwallder from ECSU Baseball. Nice enough to join us during it worked out from a radio standpoint. It worked out for us, but we hope everyone's safe up there. I didn't realize, we knew right when we were on the air there was some wacky weather going on, but I guess there's a little lightning delay up on the ball field.
Yeah, very impressive coach too, a young coach. Yeah. This is his 4th season, I think.
That's about right. Yep.
And he seems to know the game. I know the kids like him, and he's off to a great start in his career. 100 wins this year, got to his 100th win. Yeah. So he's only got 1,300 to catch Holowati.
But still, keep that legacy going. I mean, so many great coaches and players and.
And I don't know that it's easy to come into a program that's good like that. I mean, to keep that going, there's more pressure for sure as a coach. His first head coaching job, and he's handled it well, and he really has kept it going.
Absolutely. All right, we're just getting started. We're halfway done already here on this Friday, April the 17th. The Duncan Friday Sports Scene with Keith and Koivisto and Nick Erlinson on 14 WILI 95.3 FM and WILI Radio on YouTube. You can subscribe for free, by the way. We're going to come back on the other side. We're going to talk a little NBA playoffs with the Knicks starting tomorrow, Celtics on Sunday. Dion Sherman from 2 for 1 NBA podcast will join us in just a few after this break. It's the Duncan Friday Sports Scene on WILI.
Hi, this is Ian Eagle, and this is the Duncan Friday Sports Scene on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM.
All right. Thank you, Ian. I'm sure he'll be calling a few NBA playoff games. I would imagine, for ABC and ESPN. He's all over the place.
He is all over the place, yeah.
And, hopefully he got a little rest between the national championship. Now it's time to ramp it up for NBA, and looking forward to Knicks. I shouldn't say I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the Celtics and Philly on Sunday. I'm looking forward to the playoffs in general. I'm just saying from a local standpoint. Knicks kick off their series with the Hawks at MSG tomorrow at 6. Nick, were you going to say something? Like you were going to jump in.
No, I was going to say that Ian Eagle's kid is really good, too.
Noah. Yes, I'm glad you brought Noah. Graduated from Syracuse like his father. Pretty much right out of college, became the radio voice of the LA Clippers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and now he's the lead voice on Saturday night NBC football, college football. And he's good. Only like 23, 24, or somewhere in that neighborhood. But yeah, good call. Good call, Nick, with Noah Eagle. All right, do we have reconnected? All right. Hello, do we have Dion on the line here?
Yes, sir, that's me. How you doing?
Hi, Dion. Dion Sherman with us from 2 for 1 NBA podcast. Did I say that right?
Yes, they got it.
All right, here you know your NBA. You get hooked up through the coach here, Jan Koivisto. Welcome to the Duncan Friday Sports Scene on WILI. You got Keith C. Rice, Jan Koivisto, and Nick Erlinson. And we were just talking about, right before we brought you in, Dion, how we're quite excited for the NBA playoffs, as I'm sure you are too.
Absolutely, yeah. Got my whole calendar cleared for tomorrow, ready for the postseason to begin.
Great. Well, let's start with our local teams here. We'll go Celtics, Knicks, and we can dive into everything NBA. As a Celtics fan, I think I'm speaking. Well, Nick, you're not a Celtics fan, right? I know you're decked out in Orlando, Matt.
Celtics in Orlando.
Okay, I can't keep track of Nick's team. He's decked out in Orlando gear right now. But all right, the three of us as Celtics fans, I don't want to speak for these guys too, but I'm feeling pretty good going into the series of Philly. Not just because Embiid's out. Yes, that's a big part of it. But let's face it. I think if you want to bring history into this, the Celtics have pretty much owned the Sixers in the playoffs, right, Dion?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Embiid. He said it himself. It's not even really a rivalry. If you look at the last few matchups, Celtics have dominated it. So, yeah, I was really hoping as a Celtics fan to get either Philly or Orlando. The Magic are actually a team that I had really high expectations coming into the season, but they probably disappointed me more than anyone else. Really just despise watching them play. So I was hoping the Celtics would get one of them. I feel very confident this will be a 5-game series for the Celtics.
I was thinking that if the Celtics, Sixers might steal game one, and if they don't, I'm thinking a sweep.
I could see that. I mean, they did take game one in a previous matchup. I was actually at Jan's house. We watched that game together.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. But, yeah, I feel very confident. I mean, Paul George has looked great as of late. Coming off the 25-game suspension, his older body makes sense. He would have fresh legs. I think that's going to wear down over the course of a playoff series. I also really like the Derek White matchup on Maxey. That's obviously going to be, the head of the snake offensively for them. So, yeah, I think the Celtics match up very well, especially with Embiid out. I don't really have too many concerns.
Now, I also see a lot of people are kind of picking the Hawks-Knicks series as a tough one. I'm not really seeing that. How do you feel about that series?
I feel pretty strongly about the Knicks. I think that's going to be the Celtics' biggest obstacle getting to the finals. At the Hawks, obviously, they played well post All-Star break, but you look at the actual schedule, not a lot of impressive wins on there. So I think maybe going to next year, the Hawks could be a team to definitely keep an eye on. But I think the Knicks probably take care of that one in 6.
Do you see in that Knicks-Hawks series, and we'll get back to Celtics-Sixers in just a second, and we'll jump around and kind of break down the brackets. I'm curious to see who you got coming out of who you got winning it all, basically. But we'll break it down a little bit more. But what do you see what has to go right for the Hawks to actually surprise the Knicks and win that series? I mean, there's no more Trae Young. What do you see exactly? What has to go right for the Atlanta Hawks in that series?
I think a lot of it will come down to what they can do defensively. Whether or not Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Dyson Daniels in particular are going to be able to slow down Brunson, I think will be probably the key for them. They don't have, like you said, a guy like Trae Young, but the way Nickeil Alexander-Walker has stepped up on both ends of the floor this year, he would probably be my pick for most improved player. Been really impressed with him. So if he can continue his play from the regular season into this first-round matchup against the Knicks, I think they maybe have a puncher's chance, but I just think the Knicks are too experienced with this group to get upset in the first round. You
just said the word experience, and I'm with Jan, too. When I don't see, I've heard the same thing. Whispers, Atlanta could knock off the Knicks in this series. Now, and Dion, you just said it. The word is experience. Hawks really don't have that. Not that right. That's a big factor right there. The Knicks went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Jalen Brunson is just is an absolute beast, and I think Towns. Sometimes can be a little inconsistent, but boy, he gets a bad rep from Knicks fans. I mean, as a Celtic fan, I wouldn't mind having Towns on my team. And I listen to a lot of New York sports radio here and there, and boy, they're just hammering Towns. I think he's a walking double.
Yeah, no, he's an easy scapegoat for sure. Just because when it is bad with Cat, it can look pretty bad, especially on the defensive end. But yeah, I mean, I'd take him over, what we're working with as a big rotation for sure. He would definitely improve the Celtics, I'd say that much.
So back to Celtics Sixers for a second. Do you talked about the Derek White should be on Maxey the whole series, I would think, right?
Yeah, that's got to be the primary matchup. I mean, the Celtics like to switch from time to time, but he'll definitely get the primary assignment for him.
Who else? I say, because if there's no Embiid, and most likely Embiid, I'd be shocked if he actually comes back. He had appendectomy, right? I mean,
yeah, he had appendicitis. I mean, it's incredible how Joel Embiid is always able to find a way to not be available.
So
not that you can't blame him, but yeah, it's just.
Well, I think you can blame him a little bit. This one,
not this one. Not this one.
No, not this one. No.
So let's just say there's no Embiid for this series. All right, it's Tyrese Maxey. And then, all right, you got Oubre, you got VJ, Paul George, of course, Paul George. But Dion brings up a good point. It's not the same Paul George as he had a few years ago. So Maxey's got to get some help. Where do you think it comes from if there's no Embiid?
My best guess would probably be VJ. Yeah, I think he's shown in stretches. I mean, obviously, being a rookie, it's hard to put together a whole 82-game season. He's definitely shown flashes, and we saw it opening night. I believe he went for 30 if it wasn't 29. He's definitely capable of having some high-scoring outputs. So I would maybe look to him as kind of an X factor for them because, I think there's enough bodies to throw at Maxey where VJ is probably going to have to step up.
So we're all looking forward to a Celtics-Knicks second round, and it seems like we're all on the same page. That's what it will be, but. Everything I read, it seems to be everybody's discounting the Pistons. Are the Pistons going to get to the conference finals? And if they do, how tough are they going to be?
Pistons are a tough one for me. They're a great regular season team. I do question how it's going to translate to the playoffs just because as great as Dennis Jenkins was in the absence of Cade, I just think so much of their offense runs through Cunningham. I just don't know that they have enough of a versatile offensive attack to really be more of a threat than the Knicks, I would say. I do feel comfortable they'll get to the conference finals, but when I look at the Celtics' path through the East, the Knicks, I think, will be the bigger hurdle just because the Pistons are a lot more one-dimensional. And I just think Joe Mazzulla will have plenty of options as far as trying to slow them down. Great defensive team, obviously one of the best in the league all season. But I just think when you look at Cade kind of being their only real ball handler to create offense for guys, that's kind of would be my concern with the Pistons.
We're talking with Dion Sherman from 2 for 1 NBA podcast here on the Duncan Friday Sports Scene on WILI with Keith and Koivisto and Nick Erlinson. Yeah, I'm glad Jan brought up the Pistons because it seems like it's a top seed, and hey, the coach could actually use this as an incentive.
For sure.
Pistons aren't getting any respect as a top seed. Everyone's talking Celtics.
I haven't seen anybody pick them.
Yeah, you never know. This could fire up Detroit, and a Celtics fan, we don't want to see that. But anyway, so Pistons will find out who their opponent's going to be after tonight's Hornets Magic game. We'll get to that in just. I'd like to know your how you feel about those two games coming up tonight. But you very, very interesting point out the Pistons' path is a little tougher than the Cavs Raptors isn't going to be a walk in the park if Detroit is able to get to the next round, right?
Yeah, I think Cavs are interesting. I think the Cavs have one of the higher ceilings of any team in the East. I think they'll probably take care of the Raptors pretty quickly. I just think the Raptors' half-court offense just not going to be enough to get it done. So I feel confident it'll be Cavs Pistons in round 2. At the end of the day, as much as I do love Donovan Mitchell, it's all kind of just negated by James Harden being his backcourt partner. Just look at his playoff history. I would feel pretty comfortable that the Pistons can get past them. We'll see. I think the Cavs are a more talented team, top to bottom, but I just can't trust James Harden to perform.
All right, let's get this out of the way first before we get Dion's picks here, because we're starting to get further and starting to break down the brackets. So let's get this out of the way. Who do you like tonight, Hornets or Magic, and then Warriors Suns?
I gotta go with the Hornets.
He's a Hornets fan.
Oh, he's a Hornets fan. Okay.
I called in from Charlotte, UNC Charlotte alum, so definitely pulling for the Hornets. And even if I wasn't, I think the basketball world is mostly pulling for the Hornets here. Like I said before, the Magic are just not a fun team to watch. The Hornets are quite the opposite. They've been one of the best teams in the league since the turn of the calendar year. So definitely would much rather see Pistons Hornets. I do think the Hornets are playing better basketball right now anyway, so I'll go with them. As far as the Western Conference, I would not have even thought the Warriors had a chance, but after seeing them play against the Clippers, shutting down Kawhi in that game, I'm actually going to go with the Warriors here.
Yeah, Steph was out of his mind the other night in that Clippers game, right?
Yeah,
it was just
absolutely. Yeah, just a vintage game from him.
So I was dead set against this format. That's been 5, 6 years now. But yeah, it really this season really grew on me. Do you like this format, Dion, with the play-ins?
I'm a fan. Yeah, I think depending on where you count the bubble, because I kind of did like a version of it in the bubble, and then it came from there. I think it's been 6 years, but I do like it. This was definitely the best set of games in the play-in tournament since they brought it around. I like it because I do think, even though we've had a huge tanking issue in the NBA, I do think it does incentivize those teams in the middle to keep competing. I think the Warriors are a perfect example of that. They're obviously not playing for the future at this point, but with the way their season has gone, they didn't have much to play for, but now they have a shot to actually get into the postseason and make some noise. So I definitely think it should stick around. I think the only real disadvantage is you look at a team like the Pistons as the 1 seed. They grinded out, missing Cade for a pretty big stretch. They earned the 1 seed. Now they still don't know yet who they're going to play in round 1. They're basically scouting for multiple teams at a time trying to go into the playoffs. So I see that as maybe a slight disadvantage, but I don't really know how you tweak that. I think it's not a bad trade-off. I do enjoy the plan.
Hey, Dion. Last year, I feel like the Pacers kind of surprised people by getting all the way to the finals. Who do you see as a potential dark horse this year to upset and surprise some people?
I don't think this team's going to count as a dark horse, but I do think it's pretty top-heavy as far as contenders. I'm going to go with the Nuggets. I think they're a team that is amongst the contenders, getting a little bit slept on. I think they're really starting to come together all at the right time. Guys are getting healthy. Jokic didn't look great when he came back from injury, but he's starting to round to form. Obviously having the best offensive season of his career. So I think they're getting a little not talked about enough, I guess, as far as the team that can actually win 4 rounds.
All right, let's get right to it here. Let's go back to the East. Pistons, let's just run through it. Pistons, Hornets.
I'll take the Pistons in a very fun 6 games.
Ooh, okay. Cavs, Raptors?
I'm going to go Cavs in 5. I have a good friend who's a Raptors fan. All due respect to him, but I'm going to go Cavs in 5.
All right, so he's got a Pistons-Cavs matchup in round 2. Knicks, Hawks.
I'll take the Knicks in 6.
You writing these down, Jan?
No, I'm trying to do the next matchups.
All right, Celtics Sixers. I'll let Jan run through the West here. Next, Celtics and Sixers.
We'll go Celtics and 5 teams.
All right, before we continue, I got to throw this out. I almost forgot. I saw this incredible stat yesterday. Celtics and Sixers. Dion might already know this. Oh, you guys might know it too. Well, yeah, you follow me on Facebook, so you probably saw this. Celtics and Sixers are meeting for the 23rd time in the playoffs, most in NBA history, but that's not the stat. The Celtics have won 83 NBA playoff games since drafting Jaylen Brown in 2016. Okay, you're like, okay, yeah. The 76ers have won 83 NBA playoff games since Julius Erving retired in 1987.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
How about that?
I think you might even got Dion with that. Well, it was, they were supposed to be the process, and it was supposed to be the next big team. It didn't work out.
When I lived down there when I lived down there, I was all over my Philly friends. What's up with this process?
Yeah.
The process. All right, Jen, run them through the West.
All right, so as we go through the West, too, Dion, I want to talk about the Spurs for a second, because I feel like they're like the Pistons, and they're getting overlooked. And, frankly, I'm overlooking them, too. But so Thunder and whoever they play, you think the Warriors?
Yeah, I'll say the Warriors get in as the 8th seed, but I think I'll take this one as probably the only sweep of the first round. I think it's Thunder.
Yeah, I think so too. And the Spurs will beat the Blazers, you think?
Yes, but I do really like the Blazers, and I know we're going to talk about Klingon a little bit.
Castle and Klingon. Yep.
Yeah, I definitely think it'll be. I'll say probably Spurs in 5, but I think it'll be 5 close games. I think the Blazers match up pretty well as far as the 2-7 goes.
Well, let's stay on that for a second then, because what do you think of the Castle and Klingon, and what will their impact be in that series?
Yeah, that would be really fun to see them go head-to-head. Klingon has been just so impressive what he's done from year 1 to year 2. I mean, the fact that he's shooting threes now is like the most eye-popping thing, but he's basically, I don't think before long he's going to be essentially what Rudy Gobert has been able to do defensively. I mean, he's that good as a rim protector and a rebounder, and he has much better hands. That's what differentiates him from someone like Gobert moving forward, is that he has some skill offensively. He has some touch. He's been incredibly impressive. He was a guy that, wasn't even supposed to be a one and done, and now here he is in year 2 as, a building block for one of the rising teams in the West.
Before we continue with the West, yeah, you're right. Klingon has turned into side. I knew he'd be a decent player. I didn't think he'd be this good. I mean, he's pretty good.
Yeah, I could have never expected, yeah.
And Castle?
As far as Castle goes, I'm just so impressed with just his energy and his hustle every single second he's on the floor. I think that's really like kind of his superpower. What makes him so great. And 2, I think he's shooting above 40% from 3 post All-Star break. So him and Harper. So that's been huge for the Spurs. Whether or not that continues into the playoffs, we'll see. But I think him, just like his energy defensively, is just pretty much unmatched. I mean, he's definitely like an all-defensive candidate for me. I don't know, I don't have a vote just yet, but I think he'll definitely be on a lot of ballots. I know he's kind of like even a fringe All-NBA candidate for some guys. So those guys have definitely taken a leap. It's been really, really cool as a big UConn fan to see their progression.
And then we got Nuggets and Timberwolves. It sounds like you like the Nuggets there.
For sure, yeah. I actually got a podcast episode that came out today. We had some guests. One was a friend of mine who works for DNVR Sports in Denver, and then the other guy was a big Timberwolves fan. So we were able to kind of break down that whole series. Ended up kind of coming to a consensus, Nuggets in 6. Timberwolves just not as good of a team as they were last year. Nuggets, it's been a really good matchup the last few years here, but Nuggets definitely look more comfortable against them in the regular season this year. So Nuggets in 6 there.
Okay, and then the Lakers and Rockets. And if you're picking the Rockets, will it be LeBron's last playoff series ever, do you think?
Good question.
Ooh, last playoff series ever is maybe, but I definitely think he's coming back next year. LeBron will not go out without a retirement tour. So he's definitely coming back next year, I think. But as far as picking that one, it's tough just not knowing whether or not Luka is going to be available or not. He definitely missed the start of the series, but without really knowing too much about what the Lakers have going on health-wise, I'll say the Rockets. They're looking a little bit better as of late. I guess I'll take Rockets in 7 there.
All right, we'll go back to the East, and we'll have Jan continue out the West. So round 2, we're looking at, this is Dion's picks, Pistons, Cavs. What do you like there?
That will be a battle for sure. Going back to my doubts about James Harden, I think it comes down probably to a Game 7. We get a 2 for 11 shooting performance from the Beard, and Cade makes it to the conference finals.
Okay, and then Knicks Celtics.
That's a tough one. My podcast host is a huge Knicks fan, so not the episode we released today, but the one before that, we had a huge debate about how that series would go. I do think, I will say at the end of the day, I think he made the better case than I did. So I'll go Knicks in 7 against my
that hurts.
my liking of this.
That
You
hurts,
don't see-
but that's going to be fun. That'll be fun.
You don't see Celtics revenge there, especially with Tatum coming back. I mean, Knicks had
It's
their
tough.
number
It's
last
tough.
year.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Knicks are just a team that are designed to beat the Celtics. We saw that in last year's playoffs. And I think the Knicks are a little bit slept on as far as they're a better team than they were last year when you look at the end-of-season numbers. They're better on both ends of the floor. The rotation is just more of a balanced scoring attack now with Mike Brown leading the charge from the sideline rather than Tom Thibodeau, who's obviously a very top-heavy kind of guy when it comes to his rotation. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to pick the Celtics. I think it could easily go either way. That's probably the biggest coin flip series. But I think just when you look at it on paper, I try to not take my bias out of things. I do think it'll be Knicks in 7.
No, that's a good point. And they didn't just beat the Celtics last year. They came back from, there was 2 games they came back from 20 points down, which I still can't believe. That drove me up, though. For all Celtics fans, that was unbelievable. Okay, Jan, you want to continue on the list?
So we'd have, I think, did you pick the Rockets or Lakers in that series?
Rockets.
You're kind of not, okay. And you're not.
Rockets in 7. Just if Luka were to play, I'd take the Lakers, but I'll say Rockets, just what I know now.
So I'm assuming you're picking the Thunder to beat either of those teams.
Yeah, that should be 5, maybe 6 games.
And then we're thinking a Spurs-Nuggets matchup?
Yes, which is another coin flip series similar to Celtics-Knicks. The game they played was about just over a week ago at this point, was one of the best games of the season. I think one of my favorite highlights from the year will be Jokic hitting that turnaround fadeaway over Wemby's outstretched arm. That's going to be a great series. I'm going to say Nuggets. I think my biggest concern as far as the Spurs go is Wemby not being able to reach that kind of like 40-minute-a-game mark that you see from superstars in the playoffs. He's been load managed pretty much the whole way. Just don't know if he's ready for that intensity level when it comes to the playoffs. So I'll go Nuggets in 7.
Well, and I think the experience factor there, too. I think the Spurs are maybe technically the better team, but the experience factor of the Nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, the likelihood of, when you look at, like, the ancillary players, it's much more likely that a Justin Champagnie or something like that is going to go cold shooting the ball rather than what the Nuggets have to offer on the wings. So I think it'll come down to something like that combined with Wemby just probably not being able to get to the 38, 39 minutes each night.
Okay, so he's got Thunder, Rockets, and Spurs, Nuggets, right? That's where we're on the West, or we? Okay. Now we're back in the East. Pistons, Knicks, Eastern Conference Final.
That's going to be another great one, a defensive battle for sure. I think leaning back on experience, I think I'm going to go with the Knicks there. I think they reached what would be their first final since, 96?
Was it 90?
Couple with Ewing, right?
Couple with Ewing and the Starks. When the Knicks played the Knicks made it against the Spurs.
Yeah.
But I think the Knicks make it back to the finals.
99 with the Spurs or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Sprewell, right? Made it to the final?
99.
Sprewell, that was the strike season or something like that.
Marcus Camby was on that team.
Marcus Camby, and they lost to San Antonio. Okay, so you got the Knicks going to the finals. And
the Thunder Spurs, who's winning that one? Thunder Nuggets, who's winning that one?
Oh, yeah, Thunder Nuggets.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth because I've been trying to already have these answers ready to go. I mean, I'm going to say the Nuggets. I'm going to lean on, I think Jokic is a better player than Shea. I don't think there's really too much to separate these two teams. Just inevitably, OKC's depth will kind of not be so much of a strength for them as we go further into the playoffs. And when you look at the top-end talent, I think the Nuggets match up really well. It'll come down to health. Obviously guys like Aaron Gordon not being the most reliable when it comes to availability. So assuming the Nuggets are able to, keep the whole rotation together all the way through the conference finals, I think the Nuggets would prevail in that series.
Wait a minute. So are we saying it was Frazier, DeBusschere, Willis Reed, and now the Knicks are going to win it this year
against Denver?
No, I'm going to say Denver takes down the Knicks.
Yes.
Jokic gets his second.
Attaboy. Yeah, Jokic, the MVP, again, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because at the end of the day, I just do think he's the best player in the world, and Brunson is right up there with him, I would say, when it comes to best, playoff risers or best playoff performers. I do think that gets slept on a little bit, but at the end of the day, I mean, Jokic, I don't think, as well as Cat has kind of matched up with him in the past, and Mitchell Robinson is obviously a great defensive player. Jokic just has his way with everybody.
All right, we're going to have Dion again.
Sure.
And one more quick question because we're almost out of time here, Dion. And again, I got a couple quick questions. My first one is, real quick, who's your overall MVP of the league this year? Because you just said Jokic is the best player in the world. I kind of have a feeling you're going to go with him for MVP. Jaylen Brown, unfortunately, probably took a hit when Tatum came back. But as far as Celtics fans go, what do you think? Jokic MVP?
I think SGA had the better season. When you look at Jokic missing that stretch of games in the middle of the year and then coming back, turnovers spiked up. The defense was definitely a problem for a little while there. So when you look at just the 82-game sample, I would give it to SGA, just a historic efficiency season from him. So I will go SGA MVP, but when you look at just who I think the best player in the world is, I still would go with Jokic.
I got an okay, so he's going with SGA for the MVP. Now I got an idea. Excuse me for one sec. I'm out in the next couple of weeks. I'll be off. The May 8th show. Jan and Nick will be here. Maybe we have Dion back.
Sure.
Because it'll be like halfway through the playoffs, and he could do like an update on his picks and kind of see where he's going. See where the playoffs are shaking out there. Maybe work on that Friday, May 8th. I'll be in Florida. You could jump on with these guys.
Sounds like a great plan. Yeah.
Dion Sherman has been with us from 2 for 1. How can people follow you, Dion?
For sure, yeah. So we're on Instagram, TikTok. You can find us on YouTube and wherever else you would listen to podcasts. 2 for 1 Hoops, TWOFORONE. Yeah, that's about it.
Great job. Enjoy the play-in games tonight in the playoffs, and we'll catch up soon. Thanks for jumping on with us.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Dion.
All right. Good job, Jan Koivisto, getting the Dion on. We got to wrap things up. Would you say we're out of time?
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Oh, my God. I don't know if I can get out in 10 seconds. All right. Big thanks to Jan Koivisto, Nick Erlinson, intern RJ, J. Matt Rupar, Coach Odenwallder from Eastern, Dion Sherman. Enjoy all the sports action this weekend. Thank you for listening. And don't forget, WILI Radio on YouTube. Subscribe for free. Have a great weekend, folks.